Speaking of conspiracy theories, Alex Jones has he been deleted from YouTube?
I hear that's a conspiracy. Yeah. They're using it as a way to earn money. Be like, YouTube's taking us down, and only you can give us money to stop it. And then YouTube's like, we don't care. We fucking love Nazis.
No. So did they delete him from YouTube or
not? As far as I understand. What's his name? Paul Joseph Watson. That he's a real piece of shit. But he apparently admitted, he was like, no, it's a fucking, we're just using it to get a lot of money. It's our YouTube's fine. But that's I think illegal to do, to say to.
Certainly the nadir.
Yeah.
Wow.
The nadir of our civilization has to be at this point, just because now we've just hit the bottom with these the way we're treating these high school kids that are bothering after, 20 years. They weren't alive when Columbine happened, and then this happens in their school. I don't give a fuck what these kids think is the appropriate response. I'm certainly behind them. Like, no one's done anything for them. It's like we're treating them like chickens in a fucking factory farm. We're putting them on a treadmill headed towards statistical likelihood of mass death, and the gall of anybody to say to a 16 to 17-year-old kid who's gonna go, you know what, Hail Mary, maybe if instead of going home and shivering under my bed and weeping, I say some shit and politicize this, maybe something will change. How do you fuck with that kid? Even if you are evil, what the fuck? It's crazy. We've hit so far below rock bottom at that point where people are just questioning these kids and making fun of them and scrutinizing them, and not just the conspiracy theorists, but really the more vile of the characters are the people that are politically combating them and going toe to toe with them with witty repartee. It's this is a child. What the fuck are we doing? And to beat the horse bloody, we ceremoniously, ritualistically stripped Katie Rich, SNL writer who was off duty, and made the joke, Barron Trump's going to be the first homeschool shooter. It's not even a joke that has to do with, it's a joke. It was a joke about how that poor kid has the worst family ever and is never going to have a normal life. And in this orgy of we won and we're taking over the world, Katie Rich was taken to a stake and she was tied to it and she was set on fire and she was burnt slowly. And as far as I know, she's still laying low and enduring death threats and whatever. I don't know if she's recovered or whatever. I know she never got her job back at SNL. I know that they never even did her the honor of telling her she was officially fired. They just suspended her and then told her she wasn't coming back. We all took part in that because kids are off limits. Because when it comes to joking around, we got one rule. But when it comes to blowing people's bodies across the floor, we got no rules. It's fucking... it doesn't even mean anything to say the words "it's insane" anymore. We've been saying it's insane. The word insane means nothing.
Did you hear that there's that kid in 7th grade who was going to shoot up his school, but he went into the bathroom and killed himself instead?
Yeah.
It's getting to the point where we have to ask the mass shooters to solve their own end of the problem.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing.
Literally, no one else can do anything. So if you're gonna shoot up a school, why don't you kill yourself? That's where we're at in society. Is the people who are willing to commit mass murders are no, this is actually crazy that I'm allowed to do this. Right. That society has let this happen.
And we sit up here and we tell these kids if you're having thoughts that you've never had before. Your body is surging with hormones. You have God knows what going on. Like please just talk about it. Like, don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt other people. Just talk to someone about it. Talk to someone you can trust. Here's your hotlines. Like, we try to handle these kids with care. When kids do something wrong, we try them in a different court. The idea is that before a certain age, your neurology is forming, and we're supposed to be protecting you. It's insane that this is up for debate now. It's insane that grown ass adults are having like fucking weird flame wars with recent survivors of massacres who are not old enough to vote yet. And who are just saying, maybe if I say something, I just can't. I mean, I know that we all feel this way, but like, how much further do we need to go before the moral majority, an unfortunate borrowing of a different group's title, but the silent fucking normals, the relatively sane of us, how much further are we going to get before we go, the rules are done now. They don't have rules.
Well, maybe it's like the third of the population that's just never votes because they don't believe in the system.
And they're just watching the whole thing burn down. And it's like, I stand where you stand, a non-voter, a disenfranchised person who doesn't think that anything, but like, okay, but you got to agree with me now. Right. There is a difference between watching a system that is fucked up and rolling your eyes at it and watching children be abused. Like, there's got to be a difference. There's got to be a point where And I guess it's like, not only do we have to stop playing by the fucking rules that we made up and they've never followed, but we've got to stop bitching at each other. We've got to stop minding our fucking language with each other. We got to put that shit on hold. Not to mention the fact that there was a study just released that, like, not shocking to me at all, that the average African American family in 50 years has made absolutely no progress in terms of anything that actually matters.
The median income is projected to be $0.
It's like that's fucking predictable. And it's fucking, that should be a huge wake-up call for us. We started trying to fix these problems by minding our language in the 90s, and we had that wave, and then it subsided and all these things. People are laughing all the way to the bank when we ignore the fundamentals of behavior and class systems and things. And we have fallen for the oldest trick in the book when we are standing at a protest with each other and someone uses the wrong pronoun and we get in a fight with them instead of fucking facing off with the fucking people with baby skulls on their helmets who are laughing at us because they have lost their souls to apathy. They have lost their souls to choices they made so long ago that if they unmake them now, they'd be twice as humiliated as if they just went to hell and died. Not in that order. It's like we've got to. God bless you and your fucking microaggressions, watchdogging. It's not that anyone wants your humanity to be divested, but can't you see that we are divided, and the bad guys aren't? Can't you prioritize? Can't you say, first of all, Nazis are bad. Second of all, killing children is bad. Third of all this, fourth of all this, fifth of all this, sixth of all this. And by the way, don't call me that. It bums me out. Now that we're fucking friends, because we have to be, or we're going to die. Or put it this way, if you're cynical, because I don't want you to have to make a choice, let's put it this way. Since we're going to die, let's die friends. Let's die cool. Let's die arm in arm. Some of your fellow liberals are stupid. A good 85% of them. Some of your friends that you're going to rely on as this ship goes down are going to put their foot in their mouth. They didn't grow up the same way you did. They don't know all their P's and Q's. They're going to put their elbows on the table. Like, you have got to draw a thick, heavy line somewhere in your own brain that separates that doofus who's a fixer-upper for a later date or a side project along the way, like, from the fucking thugs, the barbarians, the murderers. They have targeted us. They are trying to kill us. They want us dead. They have looked at the numbers and they have decided that democracy doesn't work for them, because democracy doesn't work for the people that have more money than everyone. They want us to die. Because if we keep being more than them and alive, they lose the popularity contest. They want lead in your water. They want guns in your schools. They want you arguing about whether or not your jacket is racist with the person in the same income bracket as you, whose kids are in the same school as yours, who are just as much at risk of the next mass shooting. And I just don't. Why can't we hierarchically just go, well, I'm in the American League, but then I'm on the Brewers. And I don't like this other baseball team because I gotta play them for the pennant or whatever the fuck. Isn't there a fucking natural thing that the human brain can do? Where you're like, well, there's these giant teams, good versus evil. What is evil? People who did not have your best interest at heart. People who don't believe in the species. People who think that we are in the way. People who want pain and suffering to occur if it's a choice between that and them getting something like a microwave oven. I don't like bad people. You know what evil is. You've seen it. Like, it happens in the gaps between our choices. It's not there's these humans are monsters. It's a force. It's a black cloud that overtakes you. If you leave a vacuum where your soul's supposed to be, it enters you and you do its bidding. There are some people that have been overtaken by this, and their families have been overtaken by it. And maybe they'll be casualties in a war between good and evil. But if you're good, like, you got to even hope that they're redeemable, let alone the fucking other good guy in the cockpit next to you of the Millennium Falcon. Get your shit together, America. All right. When we got to this, right? This is the road flare, right? They're kids. It's a repeat for anyone my age. You know what this is. It's a repeat of Columbine. We are all ashamed. This blood is on our hands. We saw this happen. It's as if God picked the body count so we could wake up, like, and go, oh, this is identical. Everything else has changed. I know Blockbuster's closed because videotape doesn't work anymore as an industry, but you could kill the same number of kids with the same device just as easily, and there's just as little legislation in the way. The good guys should be the ones the most ashamed about this, because we haven't fucking done anything. We haven't laid down on railroad tracks yet.
And when you are a family or a survivor or a kid, you come on like the TV and say something. There's a platform of people that go, "You're actors, like you're being paid."
Yeah, it's just like Sandy Hook. There was all the crisis actor accusations around Sandy Hook.
Those people are insane. They're like the lowest of the orcs. And then there's like these like Urukai or whatever that are above them that are like, no, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but I'm just saying like these kids sure are
happy. They are enjoying the spotlight.
They're not really. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? The children in your country, they were not safe. You want to talk about the world laughing at us? What the fuck country can you go to where children are this unsafe? It's crazy.
And I mean, let's not forget, not just these guys are actors and aren't they looking happy, but hey, you should be killed. You should fucking die. I hope your whole family dies. You should die. Go to hell. I will kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a bit further than just this guy. I saw him in California. You know?
Oh, yeah, all that crap.
So the kids are getting death threats from
Oh,
being...
yeah.
Oh, yeah, their families, everyone. It's great.
Oh, yeah. My favorite, though, was the guy, I don't know who the fuck this guy was, but his reaction was to say, look at how disrespectful these children are talking to Marco Rubio. Look at how disrespectful they're being
Laura
to the
Ingraham.
adults. Like, I don't think that it's one person making this argument either. It's a lot of people raising that question. And then some guy did a poll about it, which was like, okay, well, how many people want their kids talking to adults like this? And it backfired because everybody was like, oh, if my kids talked like this, I'd buy them a car.
Yeah, it turns out attacking massacre victims doesn't play well online.
And no, it doesn't.
And massacre or not, who the fuck cares who talks to a senator like the piece of shit that every single one of them are by virtue of the vocation they chose?
Well, that's the
this
thing.
is fucking America. If you choose the occupation of politician, you're human garbage. Get used to it. And don't fucking expect to be worshipped. You're a fucking piece of shit. Believe me, the job comes with perks. Now eat my fucking shit and get back to work. Representing me. These people aren't royalty. It's fucking ridiculous. When did we? It's insane. Like you know, I swear to God, what we should do now that like what 40% of our country just thinks that the president is a king, the office, not even just the guy that's in there now, but we just tend to look at this as like a popularity contest, and then you're prom king of the country. We should now, if we're gonna save our country, we should do this full circle thing where we emulate England, make the office of president a symbolic title for a person that can go around the earth waving their hand in a weird way, saying funny things at meetings and making big blustery speeches about what we stand for, while a fucking person that went to law school or a group of people that knows how to run anything can actually keep the country from going bankrupt. Like we need a prime minister. We can call it a secretary of leadership.
Someone who will never surrender.
I'm sorry to everyone listening who's only feeling the same thing and has said it 1,000 times, and it's not like I'm doing anything different. It was either this or I was just gonna. You saw how sleepy I was at the top of the show. I'm sitting on a fucking
chair.
I'm sitting on a lot of anxiety and sadness. It's
and
not.
chair.
There's only one thing to talk about, and it makes one sad. So okay, let's talk about the Oscars, and I'm just like, I just don't have the energy for it. I don't. I want to go back in a time machine to the point. I don't know when it was, 2003, 2001. I don't know when I started thinking maybe I could care about this species, like instead of just shunning the whole thing, and I just want to undo that mistake, but I can't. I have formed a relationship with your obnoxious, moronic, half-ape species that does this dumbest shit, and it just I'm all of my money is tied into yours. My survival, like I didn't dig a hole in 2002 and make a bat cave like I should have. I didn't focus all of my energy on being completely independent of you idiots. But because I didn't, can't you fucking figure it out? Can't you touch a monolith and evolve? Or somebody do something. There's 300 million of us, and we're just making such an ass of ourselves. Our kids. These are kids. They're kids. Like we're eating our own children. We're devouring them. We're like feeding them into this blender. It's like we don't. It was bad enough 20 years ago when it was like, oh, we started like worshiping the sexuality of 14-year-olds more than we cared about the wisdom of a 40-year-old. Like we capitalism gonna capital. But it's now we're just eating flesh. We're just like worshiping a golden calf and just fucking eating flesh and fucking the bite holes. And it doesn't. It's like we are like, guys, don't make me hide. Don't make me dig a hole and hide. I'm 5 years from retirement. Get your shit together.
I mean, as much as I go through like every thought that you're having like on a daily basis right now, I was feeling a lot more hopeless before these kids did start speaking up.
Of course.
And they're really inspiring right now, and they've given me a hope for the future that I didn't have, because I was really worried about the next generation coming into adulthood and voting, because it's right around the corner for them. And if the rest of the teenagers of America are cutting through the bullshit as easily as these kids, then we might actually be okay.
I'm not so convinced. I just think, they're excited now, but it's not about being excited now. It's about being willing to do very boring, tedious, time-consuming stuff for the course of several months, 3 years from now. And that's just a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, the cynic,
so that's once we see that.
The cynic in me thinks that while all this awesome, progressive, revolutionary activist movement is happening among like high school kids, there's a bunch of other kids who are going to perfect the art of being fascists and perfect the art of running for office and being more subversive.
Yeah.
And like Donald Trump is a low-level fascist. He's a clumsy, like shitty sideshow version of Mussolini. There's some young girl or boy in school go, oh, if I want to be president and be a horrible, corrupt piece of shit, all I have to do is pretend to tell the truth. And like the more awful shit is to come by far. There's no way that Trump is the end of the road on, oh, we made a boo-boo, America. We had a bad president. The next one's gonna be so much worse, and we're gonna have to outgrow the idea that the office of presidency means anything at all. It's a stupid clerical office that shouldn't be a celebrity gig. The idea that we need leaders is the idea that we've decided that we're going to be ancient Rome, or the republic must die so we can start worshiping dictators. The world is turning towards autocracy all over the world. The next generation of autocrats and oligarchs are going to be ours. They're going to be our children, born in the fucking crucible of these fucking high school shootings and shit. We've just proven to ourselves that democracy is awkward and untenable, and the simpler thing is to let dictators rule.
Which is why goodness can't be shackled by politeness. It can't be shackled by anything, because the only chance that we have, and I don't want to talk about it in terms of chances, because the funny thing that happens is when we all so don't want to lose that we want to protect ourselves, and that's how a third of us end up siding with apathy and entropy. And again, I just want to say to those people, how about this? How about we're going to lose? How about we've already lost? Now, the call to action to you is, how do you want to go out? Do you want to kill a bunch of kids? Do you want to roll around in a pile of money that doesn't matter because it's all ending? Or do you want to find your style, find your voice, emerge from your defensive, self-protective shell of apathy, so that you can be right about everything, because everything always falls apart. You stand back and say that. I was that person too. I still am that person. I'm saying, like, now that it feels like it's really getting close to the end, like, for shits and giggles, let's try some shit. I don't know what that means. But I think these kids, like the next generation, is what church is saying is that, thank God we actually see that you could shoot up a school and the kids that survive could actually turn out to have presence of mind, concern for their fellow man, apparently forgiveness of the system that led them to the slaughter, enough that they would bother to try to reach out to it. They didn't all turn into little Hitlers. They didn't all turn into little Beavises and Buttheads. They didn't turn into little Sid Viciouses. They didn't turn into little Rick Sanchez's. A handful of them, at least, turned into little activists. And we need 20 of them for every one of these people that Jeff's talking about, because of course they're gonna. Everybody that grows up in this new world is gonna, like, the high IQ fascists are coming, and they're gonna.
I hope to see on, March 24th, the March for Our Lives, that there are more teenagers on board with this movement than are not. And I think that that's what we're going to see. I think that it's going to be, I hope that it's going to be huge. But already, kids are being told they can't go and protest. Like, you're going to get in trouble if you go and protest because you're going to skip school or whatever. And kids are saying, fuck you. And so people are trying to keep these kids who want to join in the fight from doing it by saying, follow the rules. And they're not following the rules.
Which is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
And decided in a Supreme Court case.
Yeah.
If you're one of these kids and you can hear me, like, you can't listen to any of us. You can't. It's
right. That's the thing, because even us telling you this is us manipulating you, and that's the one thing you shouldn't do, is get co-opted by anybody, because that will happen.
If you're successfully co-opted by Alec Baldwin, then you become successfully dismissiable as a pawn. Like, if somebody starts funding you, if there's an adult at one of your meetings where you're planning a march or something, then the enemy gets to rightfully say, well, these aren't real kids. This is a children's crusade.
Rightfully. They're still fucking assholes.
Well, they would be valid in saying that if someone bought them and started coordinating them and saying, kids, don't skip school. We can do it on a Saturday afternoon. My name is Mr. Hendershot. I'm the 48-year-old liberal that's going to, like, help you out. Thanks for having what an amazing concept. 16-year-olds speaking up. Wow. Now let's use that to get Maxine Waters elected. Like, I just don't trust anybody, kids. Because it doesn't matter if their heart's in the right place or not. Your power right now is that you're all that we have left. Your power is that you're supposed to be off of the Monopoly board, and the game has become not a game anymore, and you're the only thing that can help us.
Think about the pressure. What's the I call BS girl's name?
Emma Gonzalez.
Emma Gonzalez. She now has way more followers on Twitter than the NRA, and she's, 17, 18 years old?
And the NRA has fucking dank-ass memes, too. So to be able to beat that...
The NRA has dank-ass memes?
Fucking dank-ass memes, bro.
There's our show title.
I don't know.
But, she was eloquent in the face of a massacre, and now she's going to be held to a horrible scrutiny of of asshole men and men's rights activists and all this shit, NRA fucking Looney Tunes, she now her life is now having to be famous for speaking up. But also, I think it's crazy that the idea that we have to worship leaders of any kind,
I say pour all that energy into protecting these kids, and it really has to be literally protecting them. It can't be helping them. It has to be
Right.
shielding them, because it's good to be disenfranchised by politicians, and this is what happens to a society in total crisis. Is that it's like these kids are going to either be eaten alive, in which case the dragon's going to get even stronger. And we'll just look at it as a children's crusade. It was just the final death throes of sanity. We sent our children marching into the fray, and because we were out of soldiers.
Happened in Birmingham, Alabama. They sent the kids out to protest, and they all got hosed down, and the dogs were sent on them, and it was like a major turning point.
I mean, these poor kids. Before anyone, I'm 45, and I don't have a bone in my body that's prepared to make a sacrifice. And these kids are 16, and they have to endure an actual Christ myth. Like they have to actually atone with some fucking crazy Garden of Gethsemane impersonal force that answers by not answering when you say, take this cup away. And they have to march forward to Golgotha, knowing that there is no fucking like celebration at the end of it. It's like it's only going to be abuse. It's like you're going to have your childhood taken away from you.
I think that happened when there was a shooting.
That's why if we care at all, we have to just whatever this means figuratively, we have to just gather around them in a giant bubble with our backs to them, facing outward, while they do whatever they want to do until they drop dead from exhaustion, and any bullet fired their direction, figuratively or literally, hits one of us, and that's what we have to do. That's what's upon us in the face of this. If we care, I don't know what that means. I don't know how that actually physically expresses itself. I don't know what to do. I just feel like I just want these kids to understand like that, sorry. Sorry that our football team's so shitty that you're on the field with no equipment, and the ball is spiraling in the air, and there's 400 linebackers headed towards you. I don't know anything about football, but
should we do Sports Corner?
But I do know either by virtue of the fact that we were never going to win, or by virtue of the fact that this is the only way we're going to win, that this is all we got, and you're doing the right thing. Don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to your parents when they tell you they understand. Don't listen to your parents when they tell you that your life is going to be ruined. Don't listen to them. Don't let them trick you in any way. You have to use them. You have to love them, but don't let them get in your head, because they don't have the answers. I am your parents' age. I did nothing. I watched all you kids die when you were my age, and I did nothing. So don't listen to us.
Accept support, not advice, is my advice.
If someone says, "Here's $500," make them sign a thing that says it's a gift. I don't know. I guess actually spit on it and throw it back in their face.
They've already taken like $2.5 million.
I'm sorry, I thought that was a joke.
No.
No, yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like it doesn't invalidate them to take money. It's like give them money.
No, they're a movement now, and movements need to raise funds to keep going. You can't do this shit forever for free.
Luckily, they've grown up in a world where it's like you can just go online and become this character and make a living that way. So they do kind of see this pathway that it's not just like they're not just being like, oh, how do I become a public figure? It's like they've seen people their age being public figures for years and years, and they have a great reason to be out there.
I hope
we're a dying empire. It happens. We had a good run. We're Portugal, we're England, we're Spain. We ruled the world for a couple hundred years, and it's over. And we're not going to go gracefully into that good night. We're not going to go gently. What we're going to do is grab and profiteer as much as we can. We're gonna take, like, the people in power are going to steal as much as they can, and then go team up with the next new empire, be that China or Russia or North Korea or whatever the fuck. We did it. We're done. We're fucked. You can't be a 1,000-year empire. You can't be a Reich that goes on for fucking on and on and on. We blew it. We had a chance. We did kind of a good job. We made a lot of white people rich. We made a lot of black people unhappy. And now we don't care about the murder of our own children. This is the end.
We actually had a pretty short run.
Yeah, it should have been longer.
It was short.
We squandered a lot of it. We're too greedy.
Well, I don't think.
But it's also a global phenomenon. What's happening right now?
It's not fair
just
to,
our.
like,
It's
say-
not just our American empire. That's
just because we
crumbling.
lasted 200 years compared to, I mean, at Rome, like, you would go 6 generations before you got your mail.
Yeah.
Everything moved at the speed of a campfire. So, like, I if you adjust for technological inflation, we were ancient Rome.
Exactly. I mean, like, if it took 30 years to build an aqueduct.
200 years managing 8 billion people. And all their money.
We burned brighter. We burned faster. We burned out, and I don't think there's any shame in that. I think what you do is you go, fuck it. We're Portugal, like,
and now let's go out as the empire that at the 11th hour, like fucking Arnold in Terminator 2 giving the thumbs
blow
up.
up the planet.
like that thumb is, we love our Edward Furlongs. We love our kids. Like we lost.
We don't.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Saying change that.
Quit it, Jeff. Love kids.
Stop being so negative.
I'm agreeing with you. You're right. We won't put that thumb up as we go down into the thing.
We support David Hogg 1111. That's his Twitter handle.
I don't think there's any shame in just saying, like, we are a great empire in a long line of great empires that had their run, and it's over. Now let's try to find a graceful way to enter into the next, like, into our middle age.
But we still got it. Come on, man. We can win it back.
The shame is in looting. Because we see that. Like, the shame is in siding with entropy. It doesn't matter if entropy is going to win or not. The shame is in siding with it.
I also think that there's 2 things that kind of led to what's going on right now, and you can look back at Rome for this example as well. As one is the disbelief that it's even possible that this could happen. Like, there's this notion of American superiority and this American dream idea, this ideal that we're all kind of raised with, that says, like, well, America can never fail. It will always work out. It will always work out. So there's a sense of denial in the American spirit that really is in disbelief of what's actually happening right now. And then also on the flip side, there's also the people who are like, oh, it's always been fucked up and it's going to be fucked up and whatever, it's over, it's been over, and why bother trying to change it? So in between those 2 perspectives are people who might actually try to do something to make something better right now, despite all evidence that it's either futile or whatever. And, these kids are trying. And maybe they succeed, and maybe we can turn it around. I think it's worth trying.
Jeff, quit doubting the kids.
It's worth a fucking shot, right?
I believe in the kids, but
there's a whole generation coming up right now, and we're about to see what happens.
Where we have to, like, pick a new leader, like oh, it's going to be this person that's going to save us. There's going to be one new, like, figurehead that's going to save democracy. That's crazy.
Right, that approach is flawed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, yes, turn out, go vote, go change at the midterms, like go make things happen, but also don't root for your next Bernie Sanders or Hillary or Trump or whoever. Like, the idea that we have to pick one person to make things all right, to be the leader, like, of our rock band. It's crazy.
But I don't see that happening. What I see is a lot of people suddenly actually getting involved in their local governments, holding their representatives accountable, starting to go to these town hall meetings, starting to make phone calls. all shit like that we've learned in the last year more than we ever knew before about how government works because of this catastrophe.
We are there is a silver lining here with Trump is a sort of like, he's a rodeo clown and he's as Jeff says, he's a amateur's autocrat.
Yeah.
He also is sort of like a thinly veiled drape over the fact, if we play our cards right, if we get through this, it could be the way that we realize the important thing, which is that the office of the president is not supposed to be empowered and isn't that empowered.
Can't save you.
That we are a republic and that our representatives in all of this fucked up tiered system, that this is an incredibly important.
They should be like underpaid, low level nerds that take care of us. They
that you could tell to go fuck themselves, because if they can't handle being talked to by a 16-year-old that's just been shot at by an AR-15 like they're a fucking moron, then they don't qualify for the job. Get me a fucking accountant in that office. Get me a lawyer in that office. So I have 1 million people on my payroll who know full well that whether they like me or not, they could go home and fantasize about me falling downstairs and breaking my neck. But during the 10-minute phone call about my taxes, they go, absolutely, absolutely. That's what you're supposed to say to the American public if you're a fucking congressperson. And these are the people that are important, and they need to stop fucking acting like just because they're below the radar that they're like not capable of shitting up our country.
I know they're being held accountable for the first time ever, because also with such an inept leader, which is where everyone usually is looking, is at the Wizard of Oz sitting up on top of the hill is supposed to be the source of everything. Meanwhile, there's all these other cogs in the machine that no one's really thinking are very important, and they never are in their own damn states. They're not actually talking to the people that they represent. They're all up in Washington talking to lobbyists and shit. So now that we have this inept guy in the office of the presidency, suddenly people are going, well, wait, how does this work? Okay, so I have to deal with my state legislators, and okay, who are they? Where do I find the directory for the people I call about this shit that's happening?
We need campaign reform so fucking bad. It's been the most ludicrous journey. It's just like going like over and over again. 85% of the American public, 87%. You better believe that includes all the fucking people that hate each other. All agree. Campaign reform. I don't know who the fuck these 15% are, but I guess they're probably the fucking parasites, the rich people, but everyone else is like, yeah, you got to get money out of politics. You just got to get it out. It doesn't work. And then, so, okay, what's the first step? Well, let's make a law against money in politics. Okay, let's take that vote. Come to order, all the people. It's an absurd, it's like a comedy sketch. But we got to that poor mailman who rode his helicopter bike onto the front steps of the Capitol lawn and whatever. And it was just like, he had one message: campaign reform. We need that so bad. It would solve every other problem. Make these people civil servants. Make this job. You know why TV is good now? Because they're getting so many channels, so many ways to watch TV, that all the shit-faced, coke addict, fucking suit-clad assholes that never gave a fuck about what you watched on television and looked at TV as a great way to fuck actresses and make a bunch of money, their salaries didn't get very high. Like they started getting bored and they left, and Breaking Bad happened. Like that is what you do to this country if you want to save it. You suck the fucking money out of the spots that are important. You suck the capitalism out of the things that are crucial: education, medicine, and for my money, the Transformers franchise.
Hell yeah.
What
Michael
about
Bay?
You know what? That should never have been a for-profit venture. These are robots that turn into cars.
Okay,
Man,
this belongs to the people.